And joining us now, you've seen him in Bellator broadcast, UFC broadcast, PBC broadcast doing commentary. Now you'll see him in WWE Raw on Mondays. You also hear him 4 days a week now on SiriusXM's Fight Nation. Jimmy Smith, our friend.
Oh my God. I would say it's great to be here, but when I look at the graphic, under me and above me is Raiders. So I'm really not thrilled to be. First time I've been on podcast, like not thrilled to be here. Not at all. Not at all thrilled to be here.
It's like black hole light is what we're trying to make everyone feel like. Normally people are stoked about it. You, as a diehard Steelers fan, probably not so much.
And I don't have any neck tattoos, so I just don't fit in.
How do we know your first, middle, and last name if you don't have
exactly? How do we know that? How do you know what team I like if I don't have it tattooed on my face like a Raiders fan?
Well, thanks for coming on. I got you on not just because your name is Jimmy Smith, and I thought people would be confused and think you were the Jimmy Smith on the Ravens to try to get like some extra clicks.
And views. Totally. The jazz musician. There are a million of us out there.
Yeah, there's like with such a unique and crazy name like James Smith. I want to get to market confusion. They say is a good idea. But you're diehard Steelers fans, and we were talking about this on the show today. Yes, we're rivals. Yes, the history between the Raiders and Steelers is one of the best in NFL. Does it feel like rivalry week though in 2021 Steelers and Raiders? Do you feel that way when it's when not really, right?
Dude, when I was a kid, man, and I'm a little older than you. I think I'm significantly older than you, actually. Never mind. So it's when I was a little kid, Raiders Steelers was like the Super Bowl. And we didn't meet all the time, obviously. We're not in the same division. So Raiders Steelers were really the powerhouses in the AFC when I was a little kid. And the reason I am a Steelers fan is because of that rivalry. So it was a big deal, man. And it felt like rivalry week. And it's almost, and I don't, there's a reason. I mean, the Browns Steelers we're in the same division. So I understand that, but like Browns Steelers doesn't feel that big to me anymore just because we thumped the Browns. They're finally good again. But for so many years, we just thumped the Browns and people are like, oh, they're the big rival. I'm like, I hate the Ravens. I couldn't care less about the stupid Browns, but it's the Ravens I hate. So the thing that kind of made us rivals for so many years hasn't been there in quite a while. They haven't been great at the same time,
Yeah. I only have so much hate in my heart to give. I like to feel like there's a lot, but I got Chiefs, Broncos, and Chargers to worry about. I don't know how much like calories I can burn hating the Steelers.
Yeah, I do still hate the Raiders though. I do, but I was pulling for you guys Monday. I hate the Ravens. So did I not text you like, all right,
you did.
Please beat the Ravens. Like look, we can have a truce this 1 week because Steeler Nation is on your side, right?
I forwarded your text to Darren Waller and Derek Carr, and they reciprocated.
And look what happened. Look what happened. That was a crazy game, by the way.
Did anything the Raiders do make you nervous for Sunday?
Anything the Raiders did make me nervous?
Yeah, like for when we play on Sunday.
Your offense is damn good. You're offensively great. Your defense isn't wonderful. But it's Carr's like, how can I put this? If the Raiders were a fighter, you just throw bombs hoping something lands, and sometimes it does, but you'll take a shot to give a shot. It's, like with the Raiders, you just never know exactly what you're going to get. And so there are a lot of things we did Sunday, even though we beat the Bills, which is a miracle. We were 6.5 point dogs. We won by 7. Our defense isn't going to score 17 points every game. Like, it's one of those things where Steeler Nation, we're all freaking out. And I'll tell you about the bet I made with my treacherous backstabbing crew, by the way. And I want to know your take on this.
Okay.
But I didn't walk out going, woo, Steeler Nation. I was like, dude, we won that game? Yeah. Are you kidding? Like how bad we looked in the first half? I couldn't believe we won. I'm not sitting there going, woo, Super Bowl bound. I'm going, it's a miracle we won that game. Our defense is going to keep us in a lot of games, but you can't rely on the other team to hand you 17 points every week. So I don't feel it's more I'm worried about the Steelers than I'm worried about the Raiders. The Raiders have always been talented, strangely overachievers where you'll have just a mere amazing game 1 week and then look like an amateur team the next. It's really weird,
Yeah, like when you just look up the score, you're like, oh, Steelers beat the Bills. Like, wow, this is crazy. This is awesome. Yeah. But if you watch the game, you're like, ugh, it was it was ugly both ways. Like I genuinely thought to myself, I was just kind of watching that game between other games on Sunday. Like I was a little more worried about the Steelers before that game than after, which is weird considering they beat the Bills. When I looked at the schedule, I thought, okay, the hardest game of the season is going to be the Steelers because it's a road game short week, and Ben Roethlisberger's not hurt yet. Because he's going to be in a walking boot by like week 3.
At some point, yes.
You know what I mean? He's
With
going to
that
get like
line,
that big fat face and start swelling, he's going to get beat up as time goes on. It's like, oh, we're getting him fresh. And on a short week and East Coast. After that Bills game, I was like, there's some holes there, man.
Yeah, we don't look great at all. And it's great that our defense looks so good. That is fantastic. I love Steeler football, and one of the things, of course, the steel curtain, and we harass the Bills just nonstop with our defense, which is great. But the reliance on that as your scoring mechanism is always scary to me. When it's like, hey, we scored 20. Well, they're not going to fumble every time. You might hold them on. You got to score points. Our O-line looked like garbage in the first half. Finally kind of got it together in the second half. But it's held together with spit and glue, and once it starts gelling, maybe it'll be okay. Mm-hmm. And one thing I want to ask you about that I've heard a lot of is with this whole COVID, not great practices, not long preseason, all this stuff, teams aren't going to really gel for like 4 or 5 weeks. And in that regard, I thought the Raiders were gelling very, very well when they weren't getting in their own way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and also specifically the Raiders, because Gruden didn't have hardly any starters play any preseason snaps at all. Like other than like the rookies and a couple like brand new guys, they got some snaps, but like Carr, not one. Right. Starting offensive line other than Leatherwood, not one. Only like 1 or 2 defensive starters even got a snap in the preseason. And that's why, and that obviously comes with benefits where no one got hurt in the preseason, which is great. But on the flip side, like Derek Carr's first quarter and a half of that game was maybe the worst I've seen Carr in years. Like I thought him versus Tampa Bay last season was the worst I'd seen Derek Carr. He was atrocious. He missed wide open Ruggs one time, wide open Waller deep one time, misfiring, jittery. But then like there's this weird clutch gene that Derek Carr doesn't get any credit for, despite all the numbers saying it. He does it in prime time all the time. This fantastic clutch gene that he never gets credit for. And it clicked in, threw for like 450 yards, 55 attempts, no run game. So, the Ravens, who blitz more than any team in football, are just peeling their ears back and going after him. And he just put up a career day. And it's like no love for him at all, despite like what he always puts out.
Is it partly to me? I wouldn't say it's as bad as the Cowboys in a sense, but that idea that we and it's so funny when you think about the psychology of a team. What is a team? I mean, a collection of uniforms, essentially. I mean, the players rotate, coaches rotate. I mean, the Raiders are seen as, and as a Raiders fan, it sucks, but you got to admit it. You're seen as, I remember years ago, Marty Schottenheimer said about the Raiders, he goes, keep it close, you'll win in the end. And remember, he was a longtime Chiefs coach, and he said, my philosophy playing the Raiders was, if you keep it close, eventually they'll fuck it up. They'll somehow blow it in the end. And it's almost like that straitjacket is hard to take off. When that was like almost the Raiders for 20 years was, they're talented and they can score in bunches and all this stuff. But they'll kill themselves with penalties or they'll do something dumb. They'll give it away in the end. And as you say, even though the stats don't support that with Carr, he's almost saddled with that. Is that fair? You know what I mean? It almost feels like that to me.
Well, he's been saddled with what the Raiders have been doing wrong for his entire career, right? Like he's been on literally like some of the worst defenses in football in the 7 years now in his 8th season. Like no joke. So crazy stat that I picked up and I mentioned on my show multiple times. Ben Roethlisberger and Tom Brady have played a combined 37 seasons before this season, right? 37 seasons, right? Their worst defense on their respective teams in 37 combined seasons, their worst defense was better than Derek Carr's best defense in 7 seasons. The Raiders had the 20th ranked defense in 2016, the year that we went 12-4, and then Carr got hurt, went to the playoffs. That's nuts. Like we're literally asking Derek Carr to do something that Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger haven't even had to attempt, let alone had to do. But it's outside looking in, right? If you're an NFL, analyst and you're paying attention to 32 teams and you're like, all right, team keeps losing. Derek Carr's the quarterback. We blame Derek Carr. And it's just this like binary thinking of just like team success and quarterback are 100% correlated and no difference in between. It's like Raiders didn't even have a good defense. They were just slightly less than atrocious defense. And they went 12-3 under Derek Carr. That's nuts.
It reminds me a little bit of the only baseball players that have a win-loss record are pitchers.
Yep.
Why? Like, what do you want me to strike out everybody? Like, Jesus Christ, how about you score some runs, play some defense, but help me out here.
And I get a quarterback should be held more responsible than the other 52 players on the team, right? Like, but like 100, like all of that problem, like it was a top 10 offense last season. It was literally the worst defense in Raiders history.
Yes.
The 2020 Raiders gave up more points than any other team in Raiders history. Like, you're just like, oh, Derek Carr, you couldn't pull him through. What a loser! Yeah, the guy can't win. So that's why like this pass rush that came out of nowhere on Monday night with Max Crosby got defensive player of the day of the week for the AFC. Yannick Ngakoue is now there. Gerald McCoy, who is now on IR. It's like, wow, it just. You sort of kind of pester the other person's quarterback, and now we can make a game of it. It's like, whoa, what are the odds? What a novelty.
What a concept, right? And it's that kind of thing. When you say, are you worried about the Raiders? The problem is as you put up, they can throw touchdowns with anybody. They can score points with anybody. Their defense is suspect, but I don't think that's going to be an issue against us where our offense just isn't great. So it's almost like the Raiders taking them on as a Steelers fan plays to all of our weaknesses where they can just wear our defense out. And then we can't score any points if you don't fumble the ball or throw us an interception. So I think the Raiders in many ways play to our strengths. But one thing about being a Raiders fan that's got to kill you, and it's a little bit like being a Steelers fan, I guess, is everyone in your division hates you. They talk about the Raiders like they're the Broncos, Chiefs, Chargers. Talk about the Raiders in a way they don't talk about the other teams in the division. And I think it's a similar thing with the Steelers. It's just everybody hates the Steelers in our division. So it's almost like every game for you guys is a rivalry game. Every single one. It's not like anyone in the division is like, oh, Raiders, whatever. Everybody hates the Raiders. It's just part of, I don't know, the culture of the Raiders. I don't even know how to say it, but it's true.
Raiders fans have a weird, almost like battered girlfriend syndrome where we constantly complain that people hate us. We never get the love that we think we deserve. All of our players suck. They don't get notoriety, but we kind of revel in it too. We kind of wear it like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like a prison tattoo. Like you had to get it, but now that you're on the outside, you're just like, yeah, I'm not going to cover it up. Like that's the truth. Like there was literally a, some firm did I'm going to completely butcher this, but there was some firm that did this analysis of the amount of negative social media interaction of all the pro teams in NBA, NHL, and it was the United States and Canada. Raiders were number one. There was more negative things.
I'm a little surprised.
Like more negative things said about the Raiders than any other franchise, more than the Knicks, more than the Pistons, like more than
guys
anybody.
who haven't seen a title in 30 years, right?
Yeah, like we're really we're really a thorn in the side historically of the Chiefs the last 10 years, right? Like what?
Right.
But it's just like it's just been ingrained in people, and also on the flip side, like Raiders fans have embraced it. Like it's like we're part of it. Like we oftentimes play victim a little too much too, right? Just like, oh, everyone hates us and that's why things are falling apart. But it's part of the identity of being a Raiders fan is that, everyone's going to hate us and we're going to roll with it.
Yeah, but the whole reason I'm a Steelers fan. I don't know if you know this story or not.
I don't. I'm very curious because you were born in Fresno.
Yeah, Wikipedia is wrong. I was not born in Fresno.
Okay. I just know he was Long Beach Jimmy. So I was like,
from Long Beach, right?
Yeah.
So what happened was I spent my first 9 years in the San Joaquin Valley when I was a little kid. So for some reason, somebody on Wikipedia assumed I was born in Fresno, which is in the San Joaquin Valley. Yeah. So apparently, I think I was born in Fresno. I was not born in Fresno, by the way.
Okay.
But
this is how you know you don't write your own Wikipedia page.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Like,
so
location is done wrong.
It says Fresno, California. I was not born in Fresno, California. So, I grew up in Southern California my whole life. When I'm 5 years old, it's 1982. For people who don't know the math or how old I am,
87. Yeah, you're 87 years old.
I'm ancient. So I have a cousin. All my cousins were Cowboys and Raiders fans. And as one cousin, she's a huge Raiders fan. I hated the Raiders. I just hated them. And
did you hate your cousin? And so like by proxy, you hated the Raiders?
Kind of, yeah. That was kind of the deal. But also, you saw Straight Out of LA, right?
Oh, yeah.
All right. That was like my childhood. When you remember the player who went, oh, yeah, you couldn't take your family to a game. They'd get stabbed. And that was like a player, like, on the field was like, no, I never took my kids to a game. Like, I don't want them to get killed or see a stabbing or, that's how it was. Raiders fans were the worst fans. And by the way, I lived in Southern California, surrounded by them, and they were the worst fans. They were awful. They would literally start fights everywhere they went. You talk about wearing it on their sleeve. It was just, but it was like
with us or against us. It was
and it was like an aggressive F everybody. Love, like the back windows in Southern California a lot of times is F the haters and a big Raiders. And I'm like, what team does that? Like, they thrive on just, I'll run your car off the road and stab you because I'm a Raiders fan. And I hated Raiders fans. So, because they were all around when I was a kid, because they were the LA Raiders at the time. And they were awful. And I'm like, hey, these people are dicks. And so Steelers Raiders was a huge rivalry in the early 80s, as we opened this show saying. Mm-hmm. And so their biggest rival at the time was the Pittsburgh Steelers. So when I would sit there with my cousin and watch games, I would root for the other guy. All right, yeah, I'm going for the Steelers. And the way they played football, I love the way they played football. Yeah. At the time, I mean, it was just these great defenses, and I love the way the Steelers played football. So that's why I became a Steelers fan, was in rebellion to all the Raiders fans around me growing up in Southern California. And just, I used to go to a Browns bar. A friend of mine was a Browns fan or whatever, and when I lived in LA, and we would go to this Browns bar and watch games sometimes. And I had all my Steelers shit on, and I didn't get one single problem. Every time I went to a Browns, talk a little shit, whatever, but no big deal. In a Raiders bar, you got to be ready to fight. And Raiders fans know that. They don't deny that. Oh, yeah, of course, we're going to start a fight with you. I'm like, that's just normal for you every Sunday? Oh, yeah, every Sunday. I'm starting to fight at a sports bar.
I go to church and I stab somebody at a bar.
And I stab somebody at a bar in, La Mirada or something. You're like, Jesus, really? And so that's one of the reasons I cannot stand Raiders fans. Is, as you said, that like wearing it on your sleeve, that we hate everybody and everybody hates us. It's just part of being a Raiders fan.
Yeah, we're like the Taliban, but a little bit more animosity.
Yeah, no, less friendly.
Yeah, right? Exactly. We're not that sunny disposition that they do over there. So it's funny, like how differently wired we are, because like we grew up roughly the same time in the same area. Yeah. And that's how I became a Raiders fan.
You grew up in Long Beach? Are you a native? You're a Huntington Beach.
I was Huntington Beach. I was born in Long Beach Memorial, and then lived in Huntington Beach. Through my high school, middle school years, moved to Long Beach in my 20s.
Gotcha.
So in, I think I was like,
by the way, people don't understand Long Beach geography. That's like 15, 20 minutes. It's not like we drive pretty quickly from Huntington Beach to Long Beach. It's not.
I crossed county lines to go from Huntington Beach to Long Beach, and there was traffic. It took me 7 minutes. It was brutal.
It was awful as hell.
Yeah. But I don't remember the game. I was a little kid. I was 8 years old, and it was the last season the Raiders were in LA, and I went to a game at the Coliseum. First football game ever.
94, 95?
Something. Yeah, exactly. Be like that. And then I remember being a little kid watching football at the Coliseum and be like, oh, that was a good play. Oh, look, there's a fight. Oh, that's a good play. Oh, look, those 4 Mexican guys are beating up that girl. Oh, look, it was like, what is going on here?
Everywhere, yes.
And I loved it. Ever since a little kid,
I have found my niche in life.
Come to me, my friend.
RJ Clifford, right?
Anoint me, right? Where's the line for the head tattoo? Like this is like, and that was it. Like it's the same reason why I'm in MMA. Just like this is epitome for like, wow, this is nuts. This is crazy. I'm stimulated by it. It's bonkers. And it just hooked me ever since I was a little kid. Just that kind of like just bad. And I don't get in street fights, but it was that type of like that level of passion for something that kind of inanimate, and you're just like gonna do whatever. Yeah, I'm intrigued. Sign me up. Let me figure out what this is about.
Yeah, see, I find that like a distraction. I'm like, really? Are we? It's I can't stand it, and so that's one of the reasons I just don't like. Typically Raiders fans, I mean, things have changed, right? They're different than when I was a kid. But when the players on the team almost took it for granted that they couldn't take their kids there, like, oh yeah, no, I can't take my kid to the Coliseum, And also, by the way, I went to a Rams game a few years ago, and the Coliseum hasn't changed at all. I don't know if you've been back for any reason. It hasn't changed since I was 2. It isn't any more comfortable or modern or easy to get into or out of.
Well, they're in a catch-22 because they'll lose their like historical monument status if they like put cushions on seats.
Right.
Like,
and so
right,
it's just
you know,
a miserable
anything.
place to watch a game, right?
Yeah.
It's the worst.
The actual Coliseum in Rome that's 2,000 years old is a better facility.
Way more comfortable. I've been to
Coliseum
both, and I'm telling you, the Coliseum in Rome is way more comfortable, way more updated. I got Wi-Fi in the Coliseum. Don't get in the Coliseum in LA.
The mega screen at the Coliseum in Rome is like all perfect. Yeah,
totally different.
Yeah, it's trash. So it's funny how like when you think of like different rivalries and teams and how they develop, and like the Raiders and Steelers were, you know, a good one. When you think of like Steelers and how they're viewed now, it was so weird last season seeing the Steelers be 9-0 and like no one was giving them a chance to like do much in the postseason. Remember that? Yeah. Remember when they were like the last undefeated team in football?
We were 11-0 at one point.
11-0, right? That's what it was. Yeah. I remember you're like 9-0, 10-0, 11-0, and still no one's really talking about them.
I
like,
didn't.
You weren't either, right? Like you were reveling in the win streak.
Sure, I remember, like my crew, right? Yeah, I had to.
You're just kind of like, we got some problems, blah 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 blah.
But we kept winning by like 1 point against garbage teams, and then we take on a great team and win by 1 point. It was never like. Let me put it this way: you can win a fight, and then there's like Anderson Silva, Chris Lee, when you go, oh, this dude is special, or you're Elias Theodoro, or like. Sam Alvey, where he wins. Like, how do you keep winning? Yeah. Like, what? And Sam Alvey is like by the way, I love Sam Alvey. He's a really nice guy. Personally, he's great. I'm like, how do you win when because he would always do just barely enough to win a split decision and it would work. And you're just like, you're not big, you're not strong, you don't have any remarkable qualities at all. And yet you somehow keep winning fights. Elias Theodoro, like, we were the Elias Theodoro of the NFL. We kept winning, but it was always ugly. It was never, we didn't look dominant. We never like, if you're 11-0, there should be one time where you look clearly better than every other team.
Yeah.
And we never looked clearly better. The Chiefs had games where they were like, oh my God, these guys look amazing. The Bucks did. We were the only team that didn't have one game where we looked great. 11-0. We didn't look great in one single game. That was why I didn't either, which is like weird. It was like this weird anomaly. You know?
Yeah. And then it all comes up, like it eventually gets to you. Like Sam Alvey like hasn't won a fight in like 7 fights.
Yeah.
eventually like the numbers are gonna like regress to the mean, and we're gonna like know where we're supposed to be.
Yeah. And I knew it would. I didn't think we'd go anywhere. I didn't think we'd get blown out by the Browns, but I was like, yeah, our run's gonna stop pretty soon. And it was just obvious at the end that this weird train that was just starting to go. Like the wheels just started to come off. Like, you just get to the finish line. Did you ever see there's this, and I expect you to look it up if you don't. There was an Iron Man with these two women and they hit the wall at the same time, 20 yards from the finish line. Have you seen it?
I'm intrigued.
Right. It's like a 1996 Iron Man race or something. And these two women literally used up their last electrolyte 20 feet, and they both kind of go just like they hit an electric fence. I'm not joking. Yeah. Two of them, and they're like trying to get, their bodies just shutting down, literally shutting down, and they are crawling to the finish line, and their friends and family, and there's like can't help them or else they're disqualified. Yeah. So they're literally trying to out crawl one another to the finish line. But that was the Steelers. Like, God, like they suddenly their gauge hit below empty right at the finish line, and I was like, oh God, this is not going to end well. But it's on YouTube right now. Just Google finish line, Iron Man, and these two women just at the same time. It's like they hit an electric fence. It's crazy. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Yeah,
it's nuts how like when you're in competition with somebody and you're both like, as soon as you see like weakness in one, you're like, I'm allowed to give weakness now. How you like fight down to your competition sometime or fight up to your competition sometime. Just like wired that way. It's weird. How much longer is Ben Roethlisberger going to play?
This is it.
Yeah,
this has got to be his last year.
Gotta be it, right?
After this year, there are hard decisions he doesn't want to be on the end of.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that conversation where the coach is, okay. When Mike Tomlin sits you down and goes, we got to think about the future. We got to draft high. We got to get a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to tell you. Like, do you want to be that person? You know Mercedes Terrell from Bellator?
Oh, yeah.
Mercedes, yeah. Love her to death. Great friend. And she left Bellator. And, we were talking like the week after. I was, hey, man, what's going on? And she's like, look, you age out eventually. And I didn't want to have I want to transition to other stuff other than I got to diet like crazy to hold up a number. So she understood at some point that conversation's coming. I want to get ahead of it.
Mhm.
That's Ben Roethlisberger right now. Like, okay, after this year, we got to make some really tough choices about our future, and we don't want to disrespect Ben effing Roethlisberger, who's won two Super Bowls for us, appeared in 3. We don't need this. You know what I mean? So I definitely agree with that. This should be his last year. I think it will be his last year. I think his body is screaming for it to be his last year.
Because it's kind of a weird situation. Because like I remember like a good friend of mine, a guy named Mike Trevino, and he's a diehard Lakers fan. Like has a Lakers tattoo on his leg, right? And when you remember the last 2 seasons of Kobe Bryant's year, like he was getting $25 million a season. He was done. And that last contract, it was basically just like a gift to Kobe. Like, okay, we'll ruin our future. You got us 5 championships, 5 rings. Like, okay, here you go.
Here's your farewell tour. Here's 50
exactly.
million. Yes.
Yeah. And I was like,
I want that life so bad, and we will never have it, RJ. No one will ever give us 25 million to suck at something ever.
Can I win 1 championship and get that? Like, I don't have to win 5, right? Like, I can win 1 and get that.
It's so true, right?
But like, my conversation with him was like, is it really worth it to like nuke your team for more than 2 seasons, like multiple seasons, because you're not having a chance to develop? All that salary is going to somebody who's not going to be there anymore. Like, and you're just kind of decent enough to not get in the good draft pick. Like, but he's like, no, Kobe got us 5 championships. Pay him off. Did it.
We owe him those 2 years.
You owe him though. Are you like that with Ben Roethlisberger? You gave us 2 rings. All right. Because like I feel like it kind of happened with Drew Brees in New Orleans. Like, you're the man. You're the savior of the city. You hang on as long as you want. We'll pay you whatever you want because you're the man. Are you that way with Big Ben?
I get the feeling the last couple of years were like that. I'm not saying I don't feel that way. I'm saying I kind of did. I really thought they were making the last couple of years. And obviously he took a little pay cut to bring in some talent. So he's been like, okay, I'll be a good guy if I stick around as quarterback. If you were going to make that hard turn, they should have done it 2017, 2018. You know what I mean? If you were going to go like, oh man, like we don't want it for the last couple of years, that should have been the time to me.
Yeah.
Now I think we're at the end of that, where they said, okay, 2017, 2018, he clearly wasn't throwing the ball like he used to, wasn't as strong, wasn't as mobile. So that timer started then, and it's running up now. So I feel like we did make those decisions, and that this is the end of those decisions. Whether or not this was said to anybody, I would be, God, I don't want to use the word disappointed, but I would be unpleasantly surprised to be hung around after this year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I go, all right, dude, don't make this ugly. Don't make us trade you. Don't make us do that fucking old man tour that nobody wants to see or hear when it comes to Kobe Bryant, right? I don't want those years.
Yeah.
I don't want Shaq in a Celtics uniform for a year. Like that just, I don't want to see it.
I don't want to book you against Vitor Belfort on a Triller card.
Right.
Like Evander
that. That's our new analogy for failure. It's like, come on, don't Triller me, bro. Don't Belfort me in front of everybody. Yeah. It's a similar kind of thing. Like, just do it yourself. You know, don't make us do it.
Leave us
It's not
dignity.
cool. I want your opinion on something, RJ, because you know my treacherous crew, Kelly and KOB. You're aware of them. Do you know about our bet and what they did?
I just saw that. I saw that there was a Steelers logo on Russo's Twitter handle, which I
said "We suck."
That says "we," and it was like 3 poop emojis.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that was part of the bet.
Thank you. Yeah. So what he was supposed to do is change. The deal was, and I was taking on the effing Bills. Thank you. So it was Guns for the Washington football team, KOB for the Giants, and Kelly for the Jets. And whichever team won by the most or lost by the least, all the rest of us had to change our social media platform profile picture to their logo of the winning team. Simple bet with a little dip for a week, right?
Yeah.
Simple bet, a little bit of dignity, right? You're pissed off every time you look at your social media. And he put up poop emojis with the Steelers thing and then put the Steelers logo to put "We suck" on it. And I'm like, you're just a sore loser. You're just being an asshole. And then Kelly didn't do anything and Guns didn't do anything. So they welched on me on the other half. And I'm like, so he was like, no, but it's the logo's there. I'm like, it's a poop emoji with the logo. You're just being a dickhead at this point. Am I wrong?
There's nothing lower on planet Earth than a man who welches on a bet.
Thank you.
There's nothing. There's
no
nothing
dignity,
worse.
right? No pride.
Nothing. Like you,
Shaped
like,
in prison like a pedophile, right?
Like we're artificially adding these stakes to something for the sake of adding stakes to something, and you pull it away.
Right.
Like we're not at war. Like if you're at war, you cheat. Like if you're fighting, you cheat. Like we're inventing a conflict for the fun, and you've ripped the fun and soul right out of it through the asshole.
Yes.
What are you doing?
Right, exactly. And then what bugged me about it partly is like, and you know from working on SiriusXM, you and I have had some goofball bets, whatever. You know what I mean? Like it adds something that the fans like, right? Like, okay, they get to call him bus balls. You know, Marco from Waco called. He's a big Bills fan, and we made a little bet. And RJ, I'm not joking. I was sure I'd be the loser of this thing. I was sure. We're taking on the Bills first week. Oh my God, we're gonna get killed. But screw it, right? Like, I'll take my loss for my team, right? It'll be fun. Marco called because we had whoever the loser, the loser has to tell the winner that the other team's their daddy and on air, right? He called and went, dude, Steelers are our daddy. They played way better than we did. Congratulations to Big Ben. Hope you guys have a great season. Bills did not play well at all. And kind of went on and did his bit. And so I'm kind of like, dude, I'm not betting you guys anymore for anything. Like, you welch on me. Like, I'm not like, we're not doing this again. And it's like, it was a fun thing to do. And they totally, I agree with you, RJ. They should rip the soul right out of it, right?
Welching on a bet. It's like, I'd prefer you come into my house, kick my dog, pour all the booze I have in my bar down the sink.
I don't have that kind of time.
Spray paint graffiti all over the front of my house than welch on a bet. Like, you disrespect me more by welching on a bet than by like banging my wife. Like, that's more. I understand you wanting to bang my wife. I don't understand you welching.
Right, I understand the motivation for banging.
Yeah, like, I understand. Okay, you're weak. You made your move. You know,
this coverage, by the way.
But like, like welching on a bet. There's nothing lower.
Nothing lower on earth. And my crew just they welch. It was pathetic and sad. You know, and it also shows that they're like honoring a bet and making a bet like that. Even in my sense was stupid. We're 6.5 point dogs, right?
Yeah.
Hey, dude, I'm ride or die with my team. And the car went off the cliff, and I did not chicken out. I went right off the cliff with the team, right? So part of the welch on the bet is like, man, you don't love your team then. You know, if you weren't willing to take the bullet for your team, you're just not as much of a fan.
Yeah. And the bullet was changing your emoji.
Changing your emoji, like your social media for 1 week is on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook is a freaking whatever logo of the Steelers. Like, really? And
Kelly's social media is just thirst traps anyway. So it's like
it's all her in front of a mirror getting ready to go outside, or a drink of some kind.
Exactly.
That's it. Those are the two things it is. It's a drink and her getting ready to go out. That's all.
Every time we talk about Kelly on our show, she's like, yeah, I just got like 9 more followers. It's like, yeah, because we're just talking about how you're like wearing tube tops and thirst trapping every time. Like, of course you're getting a lot of followers.
Yes, of course.
And it's the ones you want.
They're there for the articles. They're there for the art. They're there for the input and science of what you are doing. Oh my God. Like, you know, that's the thing too. Like, you know, stuff like that. You're like, yeah, you can get followers. All you have to do is be hot. That's literally the bar. That's where the bar is. And you have left over it.
You and I will spend like 10 minutes making sure like the formulate this tweet sounds right. Like, is a good analysis to get this right? Spell check and just like, yeah, you know, 3 likes, whatever. Kelly's just like, oh yeah, getting ready to go out. Psh. Oh my God, everyone, this is going viral. Wow, are those leather pants? Jeez.
Yeah, it's weird how being female will do that. It's weird. We don't have that to lean on.
Yeah, the weaker sex, they've got it so rough, don't they? Yeah,
it's tough.
Poor them. Jimmy, this is great. You look awesome surrounded by Raiders in silver and black, by the way. I'm glad you came on here just for this look. I'm gonna screenshot this, send it to Russo, send it to Kelly. You've never looked better.
I do like the Kings, so silver and black does have a little bit of meaning to me because, you know, I'm from SoCal. In fact, the Raiders are the only, which at the time were a SoCal team, by the way. So I don't know. Anyway, the only SoCal team. I'm a huge Lakers fan. I support. I've been to a lot of Dodgers games, and I support the Kings. It's just the Raiders are the only one. You gotta choose one. All right. So what's our bet?
That one's perfect.
What's our bet for the Sunday?
Ooh. Okay.
What's the spread? It's just winners and losers.
Winners and losers. Ooh. Okay. I haven't looked at this.
What is the spread?
It's got to be 3 or 4 Steelers, probably.
Where are we? We're in Pittsburgh.
Minus 3 or 4. Yeah, you're in Pittsburgh. Yeah, Raiders short week. Everybody got hurt.
My guess is Steelers by 3.5.
It's almost exactly what I said. Steelers like 3 or 4.
Hit by 5.5.
5.5.
Wow. Jesus, take the Raiders. Take the Raiders on that. That's too wide. I really thought it'd be like 3.5. You know what I mean? Like a field goal, maybe more.
Maybe they're thinking like hangover game because it was Monday night, so emotional.
But once again, it's like no other team after beating the Ravens the way you guys did would get saddled with that. Would be 5.5 point dogs to the Steelers, who, by the way, did not look good in beating the Bills. So it's almost what we were talking about in the middle earlier on in this episode. It was like, dude, you're 5.5 point dogs. You just beat the Ravens, which are a better team. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In the same division. I don't get it. So fuck the spread, because that spread is ridiculous. Winners and losers, man. What's our bet?
Okay, so we both, for those who don't know, we both have shows on SiriusXM, the same channel, Fight Nation. The winner gets to write up a 100-word essay, and the loser has to call into the other person's show and recite that essay.
I like that. So that's okay. You know what's great? Okay. That can be yours if you win. Mine for your show. For your show.
Okay.
Music to begin and close show is Steelers theme. That's it. Fight song for the Steelers.
Okay.
You're coming on air with that. That's your music of the day, is the Steelers fight song.
Okay, that works because obviously, like, I co-host, so I'd have to like run it by Dean. He doesn't care about football. He wouldn't even know. He'd be like, Steelers? Is that a factory somewhere that I don't know about? Like,
there you go. So, and then if you guys win, you write what I will call into your show, and whatever it is, I got to recite it.
And we'll put the Autumn Wind soundtrack in the background just to kind of like have it really deliver correctly. And I know
Chariots of Fire, but we're, tomato.
No. Something classier. And so because like all this like welching talk that we've had on this show, like we're both gonna have to deliver pig. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like now, like we've put each other in the corner perfectly. We're like, oh, welching's the worst thing in the world.
So run through.
Time to cash in, huh?
Do your show nude. There you go. Like, oh, hey. Can't welch. What do you want?
All right. The stakes are high.
Appreciate you, brother. High. All right.
Good seeing you, buddy.
Anytime. Steeler Nation. Talk to you soon.
Hey, Windbags. If you want Darren Waller to catch 20 touchdown passes this season, don't be afraid to click those subscribe, like, share, and comment buttons. Plus, your comment could be featured in the next What Up, Windbags?